I work as the Director General of the Office of Public-Private Partnerships in Lagos State here. PPP, the Office of PPP was set up actually in 2008. We had an enabling law which was enacted in 2011. So for us, what we do is that we work with the private sector in being able to sort of bridge the infrastructure gap and provide services for the states. It's not everything that the state can fund on its balance sheet, so we look for private capital to help augment our development needs. Established in 2008, we've had varied levels of PPPs we've done in the state. So, cutting across from, the Lekki concession road, which was one of the first. We've had PPPs in the healthcare sector, in education sector. So we've had varied successes with PPPs. As a state, we're one of the first states, pioneering states, to actually have a PPP office and PPP law. So we like to consider ourselves a trailblazer in terms of PPPs for in the country. So, but as you know, it's a learning process. We're constantly developing, constantly trying to make ourselves better. So, every time we look for new and inventive ways to sort of make sure we can provide the services to our citizens, and also ensuring that the state gets value for money once we're dealing with private sector investors. So, particularly on the Fourth Mainland Bridge, it's a PPP transaction. So, it's something that we're working on out of this office with our sort of other MDAs, so Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. It's something that obviously the state cannot finance on its own. So we're looking for private capital to sort of develop it. We've gone through a procurement process. We're currently at an RFP stage now, which is a request for proposal, where we have three bidders we're discussing with now to help us in terms of development of the road, or the Fourth Mainland Bridge, of the bridge. So it's something that has been taking a long time in terms of planning. There's a lot of studies that need to go into it, a lot of work, but we're making good progress, and we're very optimistic that at least we should be able to sort of sit at the table with the preferred bidder towards the end of this year to identify the development of the project on the Fourth Mainland Bridge. Its construction would probably be sometime next year, but then, there's a lot that goes into these sort of transactions. They're very complex. So you'd find that, just the documentation and the process of going through the concession agreements and financial close, it's actually quite a lot, But the key thing is to be able to identify a preferred bidder and identify a partner. So once you've identified that is the majority of the work that needs to go into it. So documentation and getting through all your legal agreements takes a bit of time, but once that's done, then you should be able to sort of get boots on the ground and get people to sort of move to construction. We're down to three bidders. It's about 38 kilometers, the bridge. So it's about the rough estimate of the cost is about $2.5 billion. So it's a bit of an investment, and it's something that we know that obviously as a state we can't carry that on our own. So it's something that we're looking for, as you said, private investors to come and look at to help us develop. So we're at about 2.5 billion as a rough estimate for the total project size for development of the Fourth Mainland Bridge. Thank you. Stakeholders meetings are very key, as you rightly say. They're very, very important. So, over the last couple of months, we've had intensive stakeholder confrontations and consultations. We've had meetings. It's something that, as I said, other ministries involved, so Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, and we have consultants who are working with us on the project as well. So there's been extensive stakeholders interaction, and we've also taking the time to ensure that we've done a lot of the work, a lot of the studies. So it's not that we're just going into the project now without proper planning. So stakeholders consultation has been done, proper planning in terms of reports and everything have been done in terms of EIAs and all the tests and all the studies that need to be carried out for a project of this magnitude. Well, we're hoping, as I said, to be able to sort of have identified a preferred bidder this year. So once that's done, that's a lot of the hard work done. So that's fine. In terms of the constraints, it's not. I think a project of this magnitude is not an easy task, and I think one of the things we look at and we know is that as a state in Lagos State, we tend to take on projects that usually you'd find that are sovereign. We're subnational, we're a state, but we'll take on projects that nationals take on. So, and it's just the nature of where we find ourselves, in the sense that we're a huge economy and we have huge infrastructure needs. So we need to be able to sort of be audacious and take this sort of projects on. So it's not an easy project, but it's a project that we're very, very optimistic that we would sort of be able to sort of deliver on, and we're doing our best and we're working hard to ensure that we can sort of fulfill that. Funding is key. It's a huge investment, but which is why we're not funding it. It's not on our balance sheet. We're not funding it as a state, which is why we're looking at private investors. And we understand that private investors, what we need to do is ensure that when they come in, we can give them security, we can secure their capital for them. So we've created an enabling environment. So which is why we have a PPP office, we have a law, so they can come in and know that their investment is secure, and know that once they put their money into the Lagos economy, we have things that guidelines and processes that help them and ensure that they get an adequate return on their investment. But then they also have security in terms of their capital is secure and sanctity of agreements are honored and all whatnot. Well, we've had varied projects we've looked at, so we've also realized that whilst it's the big ticket transactions are good and are nice, we've also had a lot of successes in smaller areas. So healthcare, we've looked at concessioning out pharmacies and laboratory services with the hospitals to make them a lot more efficient. We're doing something in education. LASU hostels, we're creating hostels for the students. So we're in process of developing over 6,000 bed spaces in LASU. We're developing a medical park, a Lagos medical park, which is on Awolowo Road, the old school of nursing. So that is something that we're also going through a procurement process with now. We've identified the preferred bidder, and we're hoping that as well, towards the end of this year, we should be able to have announced that and say, look, this is a preferred bidder for the development of our Lagos medical park. So we've had quite a bit of work. It's been a very busy year, and we're hoping that at least we can sort of build on the gains of this year to shoot into next year and ensure that we can also deliver a bit more out to what we've promised Lagosians. Well, it's not I'd say, I mean, I'm not an engineer. Mine is more just the numbers, but I'd say that once we can identify the preferred bidder, which is something we're hoping to be able to do this year, we'll be able to sit down and say that in terms of, they'll also then give us a plan in terms of the construction plan, the timelines, and everything that they'll deliver. Because don't forget that each bidder we have now, whilst we have a guideline of what it is we want, and we know the sort of bridge we want, but each bidder would obviously come with their various different engineering solutions and all whatnot. So each bidder's timeline would differ, but we're hoping that obviously it is something that, and once private capital is involved, there's efficiency. So we know that, if it takes, for instance, as an example, 6 months to build a proper bridge or 1 year to build a proper bridge, it would be within that time frame, because it's private capital and, it has to get a return on its investment. So, in Nigeria, we have a huge medical flight. So a lot of people go out of the country for medical services, to see doctors, to see or whatnot, and you find that once they go out, once you go out, most places you find Nigerian doctors. So we find that we have the expertise out there and everything. So what we've decided is that, look, Lagos has a state, should be able to sort of attract, it's center of excellence, to be able to attract, whilst we're attracting investment, we also want to ensure that the medical park would be a center of excellence in terms of medical provision of medical services. So the idea of the medical park is to have a multidisciplinary medical outfit, hospitals which would take care of all sorts of range of services, cardiology, oncology, general practices, but then also somewhere where it's not just the hospitals, but there's accommodation there, so doctors can reside there. There's accommodation for families if they're staying, if they have relatives in the hospital or whatnot. So it's a whole park to be able to provide medical services and ancillary services. And we just felt that also, it would help us in terms of being able to sort of develop our skills. So it used to be the old school of nursing. So there'll be a lot of transfer of knowledge and transfer of training and skills, upskilling for our medical staff as well within the state. And then also it gives the indigenes the opportunity to be able to sort of get good medical care, at good prices. We have, the office is here. We have a fully functioning website. We have correspondences. We have, we're here. We're open for business. We're looking for private capital that wants to invest. So we have an open door policy where we're a responsive office. We try as much as possible to sort of respond to every proposal we get. We look at it on its merits, and if it's something that we believe can provide value or go forward, we engage and we take it forward. So as I said, we have our contacts are out there, social media, also fully functioning websites. We have a process of registration as well, and then we also have with all the other ministries, we also have contacts. So, if someone wants to do something, for instance, in health, they'll go to the Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health will send it to us. We'll look at it, we'll evaluate it, and then we'll invite the proponent in and discuss the ways to sort of take it further. So, as we're open for business, we also realize that we need to be professional in the sense that once you should be able to respond to all the inquiries you get and be able to respond in a timely manner. So we make sure we try as much as possible to do that, and try as much as possible to make it easy for the private sector. Once they come in, they know that they're dealing with an effective office where we don't just sort of sometimes it's difficult when you want to sort of do business with government. You can get lost. So what we do is we try and make sure we handhold you, guide you, and make sure we take you through the right steps. Well, okay, it's been tough, and I think it's been tough all around the world for everybody. So but one of the good things or the benefits is that that also it's like once you're putting your money, and again, private capital always tends to go for a return. So it would chase a good return, and Lagos is still a very good investment destination, and we know that. And one of the beauties of Lagos is that apart from the fact that Lagos within the government has good, exceedingly good people, we also have good institutions as well. So you find that irrespective of who is there, the institution should be able to sort of carry on. So as PPP, whilst I'm here at PPP here now, we're trying to build an institution that obviously outlives me, or outlives the next person who sits on the seat. So we know that it's a process that works. So you come in, that you can go from point A to point Z, and you're going through a process that is effective and is efficient. So that's it. That's where we stand and where we are. It's been difficult in terms of the COVID-19, the pandemic, but we've also found that we've found ways to sort of make sure work goes on. We still, whilst the pandemic was on, we still went on in terms of meetings being held. Everyone has moved from actually being able to sort of meet physically to you can do a lot more virtually and everything now as well. So we've adapted, we've learned, but we've also been able to sort of keep at it, and it's not been too bad in terms of being able to affect the level of appetite for investment, and also the level of inquiries we received about being able to sort of participate in PPPs within the state. It's important to state that it's the right sort of investment we're looking at and we're looking for. So investment that cuts across all areas, healthcare, education, and for us, it's very important for us to be able to ensure and give that assurance that once you come and invest in Lagos and you partner with the state, you're partnering with a responsive, responsible government that also ensures that sanctity, and it's key, it's just for me to remember sanctity of agreements. We honor the agreements we get into, so we ensure that if we go into PPP with you, we know that at the end of the day your investment is secure, and also for the state is getting value for its money, because don't forget that for every naira that you spend in healthcare, you could have spent it in education, you could have spent it somewhere else. So we should ensure that that value for money is delivered to Lagosians.